So by now, all Pan-Africanists know that the relationship between South Africa and America is in limbo. And that is because South Africa has started working with Russia, China, and all these other countries that the US doesn't want. And in fact, recently, the president of America imposed a 25% tax on all the goods that were being, sold in or were being exported or imported in America from countries that were trading with either Russia, Iran, So, in order for us to really understand what's happening, let's watch these videos and then I'll come back and do more analysis.
Let the ANC burn. Let the ANC fail. Let the liars and gangsters drown in their own sewage. The USA is about to strike the local gangsters. Not with bullets, with bans. Not with boots, with bank freezes. And not with speeches, with isolation and punishments. The US isn't planning to act. It's poised to act.
It's quite clear, based on the actions of the ANC government in the GNU, in how they are clearly siding with Iran, China, and with Russia, and giving the United States the middle finger. So if there's anybody out there that is still saying, the government doesn't need to answer or explain themselves to the USA, well, in this case, they actually have to. In this case, they have used United States technology and has given it to China without the explicit permission from the United States. So much so that a forfeiture order has been issued by the FBI and by the government of the United States. So I would love to know how mainstream media and the ANC and EFF and MK is going to spin this one. Because unlike previously with the naval exercises and with the statements by the ANC of Donald Trump and the US government, this is something different. Because for the first time, the United States is actually describing South Africa as being part of the problem and aligning with Iran, Russia, and with China. And to you, the viewer, I would just like to ask, do you think that this is really in the best interest of South Africa to make the United States, which is a world superpower, an enemy of South Africa? I don't think that that is a good decision for anybody in this country.
The United States of America is now threatening to sanction South Africa and also to increase tariffs in South Africa. So the United States of America wants South Africa to trade with it alone, with the United States of America alone. And mind you, the United States of America has imposed a 30% tariff on all the goods coming from South Africa, meaning that the United States of America is gaining more from South Africa than South Africa is gaining from the United States of America. And South Africa said, no, let us look for another partner. So South Africa went to China and made a deal with China. It also went to Russia and made a deal with Russia. And now the United States of America is pissed because it didn't expect that. And it is saying, if you continue working with China and also working with Russia, we are going to put sanction on you and we are going to punish you. But the South African president has said no. We actually cannot continue trading with the United States of America. And the reason is, if we continue trading with the United States of America and you have put 30% tariffs on all our goods, what are we gaining from that trade? Because your goods are coming to our country, you want us to sell them cheap, but our goods go to your country. You are selling them very expensive and the people are not buying them.
Well, the tariffs from the US obviously have turned the world upside down and are a huge threat to us as well, because we export a lot of products to the United States. Vehicles, agricultural products, and also mineral products, that is mining products. So the imposition of those tariffs will have a negative impact on us, and already our producers are already feeling the pressure that is coming. And we are saying we are engaging with the United States. We are in discussions with them. My visit to the United States was to open that door for engagement. We are talking to them, they are talking to us, and we are exchanging a whole lot of ideas and proposals. And I'm hoping that those negotiations will bear fruit in the coming days. Time obviously is of the essence in as far as this is concerned. So a lot of work is underway by our officials. And of course, as part of all this, these are trade matters. We need to be looking at other markets. And by definition of being an African country with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we've got to see how we open up.
Don't know if you guys have heard that the US has issued a new tariff threat to the countries that are doing business with Iran. And this was published on the Business Tech online newspaper. So the US President Donald Trump announced on Monday, 12th of January, that any country doing business with Iran will be subject to a 25% tariff rate on all transactions with the United States. Effective immediately, any country doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran will pay a tariff of 25% on any and all business being done with the United States of America, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. This order is final and conclusive, he said. And what did I tell you guys about this country and main character syndrome? He is doing this on purpose. He is deliberate and resolute in this because he knows that that whole BRICS naval drill is still happening, and he wants to move all of the world's attention to him. And he also wants to see how South Africa is going to react to this, because the fact that he is threatening a 25% tariffs to the countries that are doing business with Iran, South Africa is going to be severely affected. And besides that, South Africa's trade ties with Iran are relatively smaller and minimal than South Africa's trade ties with the United States. But regardless of that fact though, South Africa's military ties with Iran were recently highlighted in Simonstown in Cape Town. Iran sent 2 vessels in the Simonstown naval base over the last week to participate in the military drills with South Africa, China and Russia, while News 24 reported that Iran is not taking part in any war games and will instead hold observer status after diplomatic negotiations. And that move, to be specific, highlights the relationship between the two countries, that no, even though I'm not participating, but I'm still going to give you the Navy vessels, you know. And the decision to ask Iran not to take part is reportedly linked to South Africa's trade goals with the United States of America. Now, realistically speaking, South Africa will need to think this one through. Like I said before, the trade ties between South Africa and Iran are relatively minimal compared to the United States because of the AGOA. That is one of the biggest trade benefits for South Africa with the US, is its participation in the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. AGOA provides participating countries, including South Africa, with trades preferences for quota and duty-free entry into the United States for certain goods. Approximately 22% of South African exports to the United States benefit from AGOA, which amounts to billions in benefits. The trade union Solidarity noted last year that trade with the United States provides jobs to 426,000 South Africans, and 93,000 South Africans rely on AGOA for their job security. AGOA contributes significantly to the South African economy and strengthens relations between South Africa and the United States of America. And now, comrades, do you think that South Africa is going to cut its trade ties with Iran to avoid the 25% tariffs with the US, or with doing business with the US, or it's going to accept the 25% tariffs and continue to do business with Iran? Let me know in the comments what you think.
We will never forsake our country, which we fought for its liberation, and we're still marching on even now. Not this ANC, not this leadership. If they want to bring sanctions on us, let them bring them. But this country, South Africa, all its citizens know that it is a democratic country, it's a liberated country, and we are still transforming this country in order to achieve equity. And we will still pursue redress, because we are not equal in this economy. This economy is still male, white dominated. And you want to tell us to abandon policies that seek to advance transformation. We're told by somebody who's more wealthy than all of countries combined in the world that I'll give you Starlink But you must not do black economic empowerment. In our country, we must agree to that. It's not possible to agree to that. You are asking us to abandon what we stand for. You are asking the ANC, this African National Congress, to stop struggling and then close shop and become something. We are not DA. DA has to agree with that because they don't want affirmative action. Leave black economic empowerment. They don't want affirmative action. They don't want redress. They don't believe in transformation. Now they are talking about black economic empowerment, which we reviewed and said that is triple BEE. And then we broadened it to be broad-based and all of that. And then their anti-transformation is a party of anti-transformation. So if you ask us all of these things that the Trump administration is asking us to do, they are asking us to abandon the very essence of who we are, which is not going to be possible.
I really don't think anything changes until the South African government takes demonstrable action on some of these issues that lie at the heart of the problems between the US and South Africa. If there is movement on those issues, then I think there's probably cause for optimism. If there continues to be these types of provocations from the South African government, then I think the relationship, it's already on life support and it just gets worse from there.
Alright, so I haven't pitched in a while, so I'm going to put a whole compilation of pitching together. So we have Sanction who's been put on leave by Cyril and replaced by Feroz Kachalia, another ANC fossil. And there will be another national inquiry which could take up to 3 fucking months at taxpayers' account once again. That should be sorted way quicker than that. Then there's talk of a coup d'etat. I'm sorry, that's just anything to divert the attention of real problems. Then we have Swaziland, who's made a deal with the USA to accept some of their most dangerous prisoners into their prisons. And we are talking murderers, rapists, cartel members. I think they're already there. And like Swaziland prisons are capable of maintaining these people. Where do you think they're going to fucking end up? Then we have USA imposing sanctions. Not on South Africa, not on the country, but on corrupt ANC officials, which we fucking all welcome. It was about fucking time. But sadly, everything has repercussions, and this will more than likely have effects on the people in the long run. One of my favorites. Then we have Lesotho, threatening invasion on South Africa, apparently about land that was lost fucking years ago and some shit. All respect, but I just can't picture you dudes hitting our porous borders on cattleback. Corruption, one of my all-time favorites. It's just a daily thing here. We have Dada Marero, who spent something like 59 million for 1,000 ballpoint pens. Well, this is no new news, this is common practice, yeah. But I think that's fucking hilarious. And then we have South Africa as a country that is spending 16% of its GDP on government salaries. Now, if that doesn't fucking scream at you, nothing else will. General Mkhonazi, still making waves in the country, and I fucking love it. People are rattling, shuffling back and forth, don't know what the fuck to do. And it's great. And then you have Cyril, when interviewed and asked about General Mkhonazi's safety, he did his good old favorite, I wasn't aware. You're all aware, you all fucking know, you're just scared of what's coming. General, we stand with you. Godspeed.
There are 4 areas of interest for South Africa's foreign policy. The one is probably the most important, and that is to expand trade into Africa. The World Bank, the IMF, everybody is saying that the area where South Africa lags is intercontinental trade. The second one is to build our trade relation with China so that we get more benefit out of it, because at the moment we buy from China far more than China buys from us. we can get a little bit more balance there. I think we've got a fairly good balance with the EU, but we can strengthen that. And then on the fourth place, I would place our second largest trading partner, which is the United States, where I think we must seriously look into what the Americans want and what we can produce.
Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate your presence. So in today's video, we are not even going to talk about the post-apartheid story. And this is because, this is a new story. This is a new era. And as we always say, Africa is actually turning around. Africa want real freedom. They no longer want the freedom whereby they are handed over a flag and a national anthem. So currently, when America sees that, a certain country is working with either China, Russia, or Iran, they impose very, very strict taxes on them, or tariff on them, and that is very high ones, if not strict. So in mid last year, that is in mid 2025, the United States of America's lawmakers, they came out, they introduced a bill that could likely lead to sanction South Africa. And this bill, I know it was discussed in the back door because it was backed up, it was supported by so many members of the Congress, and they really wanted to look into this foreign policy that actually focused on South Africa wanting to trade internationally, intercontinentally, and freely. So, as much as others opposed all these shenanigans, we can see the strained relationship. We can see the disagreement, the political disagreement, of course, happening in South Africa. Recently, they banned some members of the ANC, they sanctioned them. And South African leaders are like, yeah, that's okay. As long as you don't touch South Africa, then it's okay. You can touch us, impose sanctions on us. At the end of the day, the only thing that we want is to work with China, to work with Russia, to work with Iran. And we want options, nothing else. So they're really being strict on them. And I don't know what will happen in the next coming days. So it is actually believed that South Africa is increasingly positioning itself close to Russia, China, and Iran, and even hosting their military activities jointly. So this move is making America it's making them very, very angry, and they feel like they are obstructing their interests in South Africa. They feel like their interest in South Africa will not be achieved, and therefore that is why they are doing this. They are threatening South Africa. So, my good people, I don't know what you think about that, because South Africa at the moment, as we speak, it's actually participating in BRICS, and it's involving its army in the BRICS army and all that. And of course, there is an heightened, the US is highly it's highly criticizing this particular move. They want to be the only superpowers, and of course, it's going to strain their relationship more and more. And that is, of course, because of their interest. They are trying to protect their interests in South Africa. So, what they are trying to do now is they want to threaten them that you're going to sanction the entire country. And you all know that if a country is sanctioned, then it's going to hurt their economy very, very bad. So there is a possibility that South Africa will be sanctioned, leaders will be sanctioned, of which it has already started, and even politicians. And of course, this feels like, yeah, it's something that South Africa already went, especially through the apartheid era. They went through this particular thing during those moments, and of course leaders are coming out and speaking. We saw the president of South Africa going to America year, towards the end of last year, and he was trying to engage with them so that they don't really put sanctions on South Africa, but at the same time he wants independence, just like any other African leader, if I may say. And as we speak, when we wake up every day, we anticipate the president of America coming out with shocking news, breaking news, because every day that we wake up, there could be some news about visa restrictions, and that being said, for them it's for their own security. And I wonder, like, if they talk about their own security, does it mean that you also don't really care about our own security over here? So in 2025, America did cut massive support, that is in terms of aid, and including health and food, military cooperation, and this, of course, tells us that there is some little bit of strained relationship between most African countries, and more so South Africa. So, my good people, higher tariffs were imposed on South African imports. Renewal of trade status also was kind of stalled, because, of course, you need to have a license when operating under AGOA, probably, so that you can start exporting to different parts of the world. And that they are delaying these licenses, and straining the economy. So I don't know what you think about what is happening now. And these people, they just need to accept the fact that people want freedom now, people want to be independent. So there has been so much diplomatic tensions, and there has been a lot of raid, and when it comes to, I don't know if you've also heard the story of the Somalis in America. I mean, a lot of things is happening at the moment, and I don't know how a typical American is processing all this. So of course, these leaders meet frequently, they talk, and of course, based on their interest, and I don't know if they are going to agree. I don't know, let's wait and see. So, the bottom line here is that America has moved from broad sanctions on South Africa, and to it's now focusing on politics, on economics, and diplomatic pressure. So that is what they're actually doing, and then later on they move to broader sanctions on the South Africa as a country. So I don't know if that is going to affect South Africa. Remember, they have been sanctioned before, they survived, so I don't think this is going to make them, I don't think this is going to shock them if in case it happens. But I am happy that Africans are standing for themselves. Africans are opting to work with other nations of the world, not only America. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your presence here. I'll see you in the next video.